going? Yes. Oh, okay.
Recording in progress.
7 p.m. I'd like to call to order our business meeting of the Sunderland. To my far left, Marty Nadler to my immediate left. Bruce Madison is out with COVID, so he's not here tonight, and Andrew McKeever on my far right. Susan Whitney is here, and our town clerk and our treasurer, and Mark Johnson is here also, our road foreman. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of December 9th board meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay, second. Are there any corrections, additions, changes? Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes as written, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Is there any public comment? No public comment, so I think.
Public comment I had was last month you were talking about your mailing for your community visit. I was on the Zoom meeting, and you can't do every door direct because there's no way to separate Arlington and Sunderland. If you do every door direct, you have to do the whole mail route. There's no mail route. It's just exclusively Sunderland. They all cross over.
Ah.
And you can't
Just
put
so
it,
you know.
and you can't put anything in the mailboxes. You can't.
I know you can't trust the mailman.
No, but you're not allowed to go and put things in the mailboxes either.
Some people do that.
I know. I know.
So you've never arrested anyone for that, huh? Okay, that's good to know.
I don't arrest people.
No, that's good to know. All right, our major topic for today is the budget review, and so I don't know, Susan has prepared a pretty nice budget for us. The
Rough draft, so to speak.
rough draft, yeah.
Ready for your input, so to speak. The one on top is the salary worksheet.
Yeah.
And then there's one underneath it there that's more a sample of what would be in the book. Because like this section here, and I'm open to whatever ideas anybody has on how to handle that. Bruce had talked about putting in a certain dollar amount, but leaving it open after reviews.
Yes, I think that.
So if you have a better way of doing that, that represents the dollar figure that he had given me, you know, at a dollar.
Okay.
But like he said, he wanted it to be kind of open.
I think it would be nice to have be able to do the performance reviews and then.
So,
Yes.
Yeah, but just the way our book is structured normally, I'm kind of struggling for a way to represent that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
any other thoughts you have on
well, I have a
how to
question.
word that, that would be great.
Question I have, Susan. If we leave it open, how can we account in the budget for what the increase will be?
Well, his thought was that, you know, if he has a certain dollar amount, okay, like, let's say when he does reviews, he says, oh, okay, this, if he says everybody was gonna get an average, let's say everyone was getting an average of a top.
Right.
And then he says, well, here's somebody's overperforming, here's somebody's underperforming, you
Yeah.
know, maybe a quarter goes out of this one to this one, you know?
So would have increases in the proposed budget, but they won't, they'll be allocated after the reviews.
Right, the distribution might be different
Right.
than what's represented there.
Okay, so what if you put in here that take the total amount of what this year's, right, plus an average of $1 per person, and put it in as proposed budget allocation to be apportioned after review?
Yeah, well, I mean, you have that represented in the actual budget pages later on, just a lump sum, but on the, you schedule of salaries, you kind of, you got some kind of a breakdown.
Well, if you put down that there's gonna be a $3 aggregate increase, then it's not too hard to figure out how it's gonna work.
Well, you could put, I guess you could put current and then say, something, maybe a separate line that says, say $3.
It's sort of awkward, yeah.
I know, the whole
Yeah.
thing is awkward, it's a tough way to do it.
It is,
I
it
mean,
is.
I talked with him about that, maybe next year, the reviews could be done in November, so you already know,
Yeah, that would be good.
you know?
That would be good.
Which is hard this year because we have new
Yeah,
personnel.
absolutely.
So, I mean, it wouldn't have worked this year, but he's hopeful that next year we can do it in the fall. And then you wouldn't have this problem.
So, for the road crew, how much overtime is included in our budget?
Well, if you look at, it's like, what, the third page in, there's like a breakdown there. And we did, say 15 hours a week for 10 weeks. for
Okay.
each person. We have been doing 15 and 15, but, you know, when Mark and I talked.
Okay, where is that?
maybe, you know,
no,
This
I
one,
have
right here, this
Oh,
page.
Oh, I don't have that page.
This is the one she just gave us.
I don't have it. Just took my packet apart. Oh, wait, hold it. Maybe it's stuck right here. Hold on a second.
She wouldn't.
Ah, there it is. I got it. Yeah. Yeah, I got it.
And that's, the total of these are is what's in the budget. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty roughly at this, yeah. Like I said, this is just very preliminary until
Sure.
we have these discussions.
So if it doesn't snow a lot on Saturday and Sunday, then we're all right, huh? Or at night. You guys run all night, don't you, when it's snowing?
All depends on what comes, you know.
Yeah, if it's,
Those,
yeah,
we try to get the last strip of salt out, keep the blacktop bare and, you know, somewhat bare, and
yeah.
try to get in early and, if you try to guess the weather, you know,
Right. All right, so, to me, that looks reasonable what you have as far as salaries go. I don't know, any other thoughts? I mean, I know that, Marty, what you had proposed, I'm not sure how exactly you worded that, but,
That we use the existing, we put the existing figures in, you know, the current figures, and then plus $3 an hour increase aggregate, something like that, you know, which,
So
so,
just make a separate line, leave it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Note this as FY '25 salaries,
Yeah.
And then, you know, then put the message in there about, you know,
yeah,
the performance review.
right.
allocated after
Yeah,
performance.
yeah,
review.
aggregate,
Distributed after review.
yeah, right, aggregate to be allocated after review, or something like that.
Great. Any other items on here that anyone has a question on as far as the permanent, or these are all part-time, right? The rest of the folks on the schedule of salaries and wages?
The one that's on, the one that's labeled work copy, I gave you the current rates for the ones that
Right.
are normally set, and then left it blank for you to write. Of course, any and all of those are, you know, up to you guys, if you wanna make changes, except for the cemetery commissioners, as they're their own board, and they do their own thing.
Okay,
But other than that, the rest of it is under your purview.
And as you are retiring, and we don't know who's gonna be voted in, I mean, we may, I don't see where an increase there would be required for
No.
next year.
No.
No,
And the same with the treasurer.
right. Yeah, so you may want to adjust those to, more starting salary type levels.
Right. And I don't know how many hours total annually do you
Well, I
generally?
mean, it's a salary position,
Yeah.
so like, we're open for 24 hours a week, but obviously I do stuff beyond that.
Sure, sure.
I mean, Rose used to consider it a full-time job.
Mm-hmm. And, do anybody have any thoughts on what, maybe,
Is there an advantage to taking the town clerk treasurer assistant and making that a salaried position rather than a wage position?
I don't think, based on IRS rules, you can.
Oh, you don't think you can because of the number of hours?
Well, no, there's certain rules to be a salary person, like you have to be a supervisor of a certain number of employees, that's one of the criteria. There's a whole criteria.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah, you can't, yeah, you have to,
We tried that when I came on, then we found out we can't do it.
That's sort of silly.
there's very specific criteria for salary positions.
That's pretty silly.
Well,
But it is what it is.
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, especially for a lower level position, they don't want people to be taken advantage of, so, that's, I think, why they built that into the rules. You truly have to be a supervisor to be in that category.
so that was in reference to the assistant?
Yeah.
And that's more part-time anyway, isn't it? Or less than,
Well, ideally, the person should be there all the time that you're open.
okay.
That would be the ideal situation, but.
Is for the town clerk treasurer, the salary, I mean, if we are gonna go through that whole process of getting somebody have to run and get elected, is that adequate for drawing candidates?
Well, plus it's fees as
Yeah,
well.
okay.
And the fees are what,
From recordings, from deed copies, certified.
oh, fees from the public when
Yes, they're not part of your budget, they're not taxes raised.
okay.
They're from fees that are paid for certain services.
Okay.
And the treasurer, that's less than full-time? Is that, I mean,
It's hard when it's the same person, it's all.
right, I know. Yeah, I know. But is it normally, has it always been,
Intermingled?
yeah, I mean, has it always
Probably
been
for
treasurer and
Probably for
town clerk?
60 years, because Rose did it for 30,
Yeah.
and Mr. Vayan did it for, 30 as well. I think.
Oh, wow.
But they're two separate lines. Are
I
they,
mean, theoretically.
theoretically, are they two separate they're two separate voted in positions?
Yeah.
Yes, you have to run for both, if you want both.
Does,
I mean, nothing says that somebody couldn't run for one or the other, but it is very intermingled, it'd be difficult.
sure it is. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense just, how would we go about merging them if we wished to?
Petition the state.
It's a state thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a state thing that they're separate positions?
Yeah, those are.
But there's towns that are a little bigger, that
Yeah,
probably
I would think
need
that,
full-time.
yeah, I would think like Rutland or, or
Well, even next
some,
door in Arlington, they have separate treasurer and town clerk, as does Manchester.
yeah.
There's very few of us little guys left.
So, any recommendations for a starting salary? And,
For which,
I mean, as far as the, for both town clerk and treasurer,
Well, we're gonna get a new person, so
Right.
I would presume that this is the current salaries, are they not?
Right.
Right, so, and this reflects several years of increase over a period of time, correct?
Yeah, great.
Right,
I mean,
so-
Like the board that was in place when I started, I think did 20 and 15 to start when I
Yep.
started.
Right,
And then this was, received
Yeah.
increases after.
yeah, well, I certainly think that we should not be any higher than this.
No.
No,
would
I
think
don't know
not.
if you wanna leave it as, or do you wanna round down, somehow? I don't, I think it's up for a question. It's a brand-new person.
Is that something that we have to define, so whoever gets voted in gets that salary, or is that something?
No, I mean, this is a budget.
Right, it's a budget. So if
I
we
mean, you
interview
have to-
someone that's,
When
Got-
somebody starts, if, it's somebody with zero experience, I mean, you certainly are within your purview to say, this is where we're gonna start you at. It does not have to be what's in the book. I mean, this is a budget.
Oh.
A budget is
right,
a budget.
Sure.
What you can go up to.
Right.
You
Right.
can always go down from.
Correct.
yeah,
Well, you could list this as not to exceed.
Well, I mean, that's basically what it is. It's just a schedule, so.
Yeah, but I would not want, this becomes a public document though, doesn't it?
It's in the book.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't want somebody who applies for the job and looks and sees what these salaries are to make the assumption that that's the salary they're gonna get.
You're not really applying for the job, you're running for.
Well, yeah, but they're running for
Right.
the office, they have to assume, I don't think that you want them to assume that automatically, that will be the salary that's attached to that position when they're elected.
But it's very fluid anyway because of the fees.
yeah.
What you get is very fluid. It's not necessarily the same wage for the year in any given.
And do you know approximately what they've averaged over 3 years?
It's really fluid.
I mean-
I would say 10 to 15. Over the years. I mean, that's just a rough guess without having any.
So, my take would be, leave these numbers in, because if we need at least, I would say, if we have a qualified person, you don't want to say, oh, well, in our budget, we have less money, and now we can't afford that person, or maybe this would attract more qualified people.
But, they're odd numbers, for a new person, are you saying, well, you can get $16,222.50? It's like an odd number, either make it, 16.2, 16 even, 16.250, something, just, not $22.50.
Yeah, it's a little odd, but.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that. I think we could round both those numbers to,
Just 21 and 16,
Well, you could
unless
do-
you wanted to go lower for starting, but.
I'd say 21 and 16 sounds good to me. I don't know. Andrew, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. That way, it looks more like a budget rather than
Yeah,
than the salary.
Yes, and it makes it easier when you're putting it into the payroll system for it to divide out.
Yeah,
yes, it sure does.
and I assume we should keep the assistant the same hourly rate?
Yeah, you could always adjust it if it's a new person,
Right.
you know.
Just, because we need to get the budget in for sure, so. Does that sound reasonable to
Yep.
everybody?
Do we still have a webmaster? You are the webmaster. Excellent.
That's a separate job.
Yep.
The Jill of all trades, right?
I wasn't supposed to still be the webmaster when I was elected. I was told that there would be a new one, but that
You've
hasn't
done a good
been
job, though.
finalized.
So, in case the person who winds up getting elected in March for town clerk is not web savvy,
Well, yeah, no,
then we need to kind of think about, or
Yeah,
you
no.
guys would need to think about,
Yeah.
finding somebody, that's important.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
That's
no.
not something we can,
Well, it shouldn't be a new town clerk. It should, you know, the only reason way I was able to continue as town clerk was because I'd been doing it. You know, but to learn both of those would not be a very good combination. I did talk to the person who had been doing it, that had handed it to me, and he's not interested in taking it back at this time. But there's a couple other people out there that possibly might take it over. I mean, and that doesn't have to end the minute I'm not in place anymore either.
you know,
I mean, I certainly want to find somebody, but,
Well,
I mean, until that happens, we can
yeah,
keep
no, I
that
agree
going.
with, neither should we not have a webmaster for a long period of time.
What's that?
We shouldn't leave that vacant for a long period.
No, but I'm just saying, it wouldn't be vacant immediately. I mean, I could keep it going until
Right.
it was filled, so to speak.
and is there, what if a person that has absolutely no experience manages to win town clerk?
Probably would need some help from the state.
So you're not gonna hire on as a consultant for us?
I mean, I would certainly help out a little bit here
Sure.
and there, but, you know, I mean, if it was like zero, you know.
Like, someone right out of high school probably wouldn't be the best choice, right?
No, not the best choice.
Okay,
I mean, I'm not leaving town. I mean, I could
Yes.
help out a bit
Great.
here and there.
because that's a scary thought to me, to have someone that's,
Have there been any petitions in yet for those positions?
For those petitions, no, only a couple of petitions are out at this time. How to be one of them.
yes.
Not for town clerk, though.
No, I'm just saying that, of any, there's only like 2 people that have done anything yet.
All right, any other questions or issues on wages and salaries?
You also have bullying too, bullying administrator usually have.
Yeah, I think I would say another dollar there, do you think, raise? He's done I think, an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
Is that reasonable,
Yeah, I'd say.
Todd?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing an awful lot of work for us.
Yeah, he is. Andrew?
Yeah, no, that sounds fine.
Okay, so we'll make that 32.
Did we decide on the assistant treasurer clerk? Are we gonna leave that, or are we adjusting that?
You mean at 23?
Yeah, assuming that position is vacant or whatever. Isn't that what we were discussing, or?
And that's not elected, is it? Is that?
No.
That's hired, right, so
So that one we should probably leave, I guess.
I would say leave it.
Okay.
Yep,
And
I would.
All right. Any others?
Are you good with your recording secretary amount?
Yes, I think so. 21.
We don't have
So far,
anybody.
we're way under budget on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Todd, does
Thank you,
somebody
Todd.
Am I,
fill
am
yet?
I
Yeah.
supposed to be submitting time
Yes,
sheets? or-
absolutely.
You could if you want.
And Susan had asked if you might know of anybody like related to the school, any parents or that are looking for some part-time work?
I don't personally know any, but I can talk to maybe the principal and see if we can get in a newsletter, maybe we can get a little blurb in there, or at the parent-teacher group meeting, I can mention it, and just spread the word, if
What
there's any.
That'd be a good opportunity.
What about Southwest Regional? I mean, Do they still offer anything? I know they offer a variety of vocational, programs down at Southwest Regional in Bennington. Do they still offer a program on secretarial work? I just don't know. They offer a lot of different things.
Would they have to take shorthand?
I don't know, it would be helpful. But,
I don't know of
but,
anybody
I was
that's
just-
under 80
I was just
that
wondering,
knows that.
if you have somebody, who either graduated from there or, is like a senior, who might, be able to do some work.
Well, it's a good thought for sure.
I don't know, I'll take, if I get a moment, I'll give them a call.
Okay, that'd be great. Because Todd's been great, but that's a lot of work to
It is.
put on Todd, so I really appreciate it. So we should leave the recording secretary at 21. And also, I think, Marty, you were asking about someone to type up,
Yeah, we have the new personnel policy that
Right.
you folks got a copy of. We need a clean copy. The copy I have, the language is correct. I mean, the pagination is all off and the margins are all off and stuff like that, and, Caroline has suggested that, she has offered to do it, but it would be on her time and it would be $23 an hour. And I really don't know how long it would take, because, I mean, if she already has it as a Word document, then it's much easier to manipulate.
Your other thought, though, too, that you might want to think about is maybe asking Mia, because of her reasoning for not being your secretary more was childcare, but she might be able to do it at home. That might be a good choice.
because Caroline right now is in pre-training for town clerk, so, and I think
All right,
with her less experience, the more training she could get if she does actually get the town clerk
Right.
position. I think the training would be the most important at this point, rather than typing. So,
all right.
if that's all right with everyone.
I don't know what Mina what were we paying, what did we pay the recording secretary?
21.
Yeah, I mean, so we could offer her $21 an hour to do that work,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Okay. I will stop in and get her phone number and everything, if you guys still have it.
Yeah, we got at least have her, I know I have her email.
Yep,
That would be
that would
great.
be great, thank you.
I have her number too.
Okay, thank you.
Because she could do it from home, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
the Zoom and,
yeah, she could do it at home.
Well, it's just a Word document.
Yeah, that's all it is.
if
just,
it's a Word document.
Yeah,
So she could do it sometime in the
My typing skills aren't that good, but I could probably do it for you.
yeah.
All right, anything else? Any more on salaries, wages, and
Are you good with all the other ones?
Yeah, I think so.
I have gone over them, and they seem fine to me, so.
Do you know where we are with the propane and the fuel club? Are we waiting for Jeff Dexter to get back to us?
He was
Is
looking
the
at
deal?
that, and I think the last I heard, we were gonna talk to Dora about, whether they could meet, Fuel Club, but I don't know if, do you know, if Jeff had talked to Dora about the prices for propane? I mean, or is that something we should do?
planning to, but I don't know if he did or not, or
Because,
those numbers might be, you talking about the field club thing, or?
Yes. Because it was, I'd say 15 or 20% cheaper than what we were paying, right?
Yeah, somewhere in it, around there.
So, because we have that, is fuel in here?
It's in the highway fund.
Just
Well,
the
there's
highway?
one in highway and there's one
Oh,
in
is there?
general.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's-
okay, yeah, you're right, sorry.
We just barely paid a propane bill for highway, actually, it's in your bill that you have there. And I wanna say it was $1.97, wasn't it, Ray? Yeah. It's in your bills from the highway department there,
Yep.
it wasn't huge.
bills are there, yeah.
Yeah, and the highway one?
Highway fund, let's see.
And is that what comes under heat for the general fund?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. 323 gallons at 646. So it's $2. $2 a gallon.
Cheaper?
No, it's $2 a gallon. We're paying $2 a gallon.
Yeah, I think it's like $1.97 or something.
Yeah.
the other one is.
Because it was 323.2 gallons and it's $646. So 323 twice is 646.
Right.
Yeah. And then I imagine there was a little bit of taxes or,
Well, there's
So-
a,
something-
we don't pay tax, but we have to pay, there's some sort of new
Yeah.
weatherization.
yeah, so it's some fee of some sort.
Yeah, there's a fee, if you
Yeah.
look on there, the breakdown.
Yeah,
It's
that-
$1.97, then 2
Yeah,
cents.
2 cents for fee, 2.5 cents or something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what the rate is. So figure it's almost $2, $1.97. Yeah.
Could I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Yeah, really quick. So what jumps out at me on the general fund budget is the health insurance increase. I guess, and I know that that's a situation across the board.
Yeah, I didn't take insurance through here, I have insurance through my husband, so, but you have to assume that the next person would probably
Right.
wanna participate.
And,
I mean, if they don't, then that's a savings in your budget, but you mean, you can't assume because I didn't do it, that the next person's gonna.
Yeah, I think you have to budget for it.
Yeah.
That would make,
Yes.
it would make sense that we have to budget for it.
And the increase is because it's, one is only a few months and the other one's a full year.
oh, okay, all right. I was wondering if there was like a
Yeah, no, see, the year.
12-month.
No, one is,
Wow.
yeah, I will leave in March, and then, so there'd be like 3 months that somebody could sign up for.
Okay, all right,
And then the next one would be full year.
gotcha.
So that's why you're seeing a jump there.
That reminds me, do we have any kind of policy or standard procedure for stipends in lieu of insurance? Or is it,
Nope, you just, that personnel policy that you've been working on?
Yep.
That's all there is.
yeah, it's all there is, okay.
I mean, there's been a,
Is there a precedent?
Yes, there's a past practice, like when Mike and Rose left the insurance here and on Medicare, the board agreed to reimburse them for their Medicare.
All right, but,
But that's all that's been done in
yeah.
the past that I'm aware of.
We ought to consider, we ought to think about developing some sort of, if not a formal policy, a practice, at least, that we could build in somewhere that we have an answer to the question.
Yeah, well, right, and that one you're working on, right under that health insurance section in there needs a lot of work. So
Yeah.
that would be a good
Mhm.
just,
Yep.
refer to that.
All right,
Could I ask another quick question?
sure.
On the law enforcement, I see we're level funding that at 35.
Yes.
I
Yes.
thought,
The price went up,
we're.
$80 an
we're
hour.
seeking
It'll be
the-
$80 an hour.
Beg pardon?
$80 an hour. So we'll get less hours for the same price. I will send him an email saying that we're gonna keep it level funded, and we'll have to have a decrease in hours.
Well, we haven't decided that yet.
Well, Bruce is in favor of that, so we do need to kind of vote on that if we, or agree upon that anyway, if that's what we'd like to do.
I think we should still have it here, though.
How many hours will that be in?
About I come up with 8.4
Yeah.
hours per
Eight-
week. So
8.4.
call it 8.5 hours a week.
8.5 hours a week, and this year I think it was it 11 hours? Something like that.
What was the rate this year? Do you remember?
It was 72 or 78? 72, I think it was, I think it was 72.
Do you know what the cost would be if we did keep the same level of service?
Well, it would be, what did you get, 11 something? 11 and a half hours?
So if it's 72, that comes out to 9 1/3 hours a week. So you'd only really be losing like an hour
Okay.
per week with the 30.
Yes, I think that's what Bruce had calculated.
Yeah,
too.
so if we do 9.4, let's say, let me get a calculator up. Come on, I don't want to make a phone call.
Just call the sheriff.
Yeah, right. Something is going on with my phone. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It keeps on wanting to have me make a phone call, which I do not wish to do.
What do you want to divide?
Well, I just, now I could get it. Let's see. I'm working here. So I have 9.4 times 52 times 80. It would be $39,000, $39,100 approximately.
If what?
If we kept the same number of hours at the new rate, it would cost us another $4,000, $4,100 a year.
So,
I don't know, I don't know there's a significant difference between 8.5 and 9.3, hours, and the $4,000 we could use somewhere else maybe.
It's a week of coverage throughout the year, though. Less, if you take all those hours throughout the year, that's one less week that they're here.
Well, it's true, but there's not a significant amount of, of contact in the time they have. So, when they had 12 hours, they still did virtually no tickets and no warnings. And at 9 hours, they do virtually no tickets and no warnings. So I would imagine at 8 hours, they would do no tickets and no warnings.
Do we get any forms from the rescue service or the fire department on what they're doing for the 72,000 or the 26,000 that we pay a year? I'm just concerned with just continuously, we're focused so much on the police budget, and they are a critical part of the triangle of emergency services. That's just my concern.
Yeah, well, they're required to respond to emergencies regardless. It has nothing to do with the hours. The hours are for patrol.
I thought the sheriff was saying otherwise, if we're cutting back the hours.
Well, I think by law, they have to respond to an emergency, don't they? Is that the law? The sheriff, by law, they have to respond they don't have to respond to an emergency?
I think it's the state police.
The state police have to respond?
The sheriff's a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
All right,
I was at the the last emergency, sorry if we're digressing.
No,
here,
no.
But when I was at the last emergency, Regional Emergency Management Committee meeting down in Stanford, we were talking about the state police, and at that hour, there were only 2 troopers, state police, on duty in the entire Bennington County, and they were having an issue because there was a call at the time, I think somewhere down in Stanford, Reedsboro or whatever, but the trooper that was the closest was all the way in Rupert. And so that's a 45, 50-minute response to get there, and that's if they're not tied up with whatever they're doing up in Rupert. So that's just my concern. I just think that's something we have to think about too, is there's a lot to policing, other than just tickets. There's a whole aspect of community policing, community patrols. I just think it would be, before we kind of just automatically cut policing each year, that we have the sheriff come back and maybe we can talk about it. He can talk about policing and how that works. And there's just a lot more to it than just writing tickets. And I think a lot of community would probably be for maintaining the level of service, since we have cut back on it. But I mean, that's something we can discuss further. But those are just my concerns with cutting police force even more.
Well, we have to make a decision pretty soon, because we have to put the
We
budget,
need to,
we got to put the budget to bed.
But we also did mention in the last, in April, when the sheriff was here, that we would have them, we wouldn't do it again without discussing it with them.
Right.
And giving them an opportunity to come talk to us. So I just want to make sure we follow through with that.
Well, I can, when do we have to put the budget to bed?
tonight,
This would make better, but, the 16th is the last day that, people can petition and stuff, so.
Okay.
And it's a real tight turnaround to get the warning posted, get the book to the printers, all that kind of good stuff.
and, I mean, I know that when the sheriff was here, talking about, yeah, we do more, we're, we part of the community and everything else, but have you seen results of community activity with them, other than they gave free tickets or stopped 5 people or whatever? Is it beyond
I've seen
that?
them at different hours of the day. I've seen them at different hours of the day driving around.
No, I definitely have seen them patrolling, yeah.
But no, I have not seen them like hand out lollipops or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean-
I haven't seen them
No,
do that.
no, I don't,
You know,
whatever community policing is.
but I mean, there's, again, it kind of goes back to, I mean, we are paying them a contract, so it also goes back to us if we're following up with what we want from them. It's that same thing. Like, if we're paying them to provide a service and we're unhappy with a certain portion of that service, then it's also on us to say, like, what are you guys doing to fulfill that end of the contract?
So, do we feel as a board that we need more coverage? Is that, or not drop off anymore, or are we appeasing? I mean, I know, speaking for Bruce, who I talked to today, said that he thought level funding would be appropriate, which means actually cut back in hours for them. If we keep 35,000 in for them. I mean,
Well, I guess I'm thinking about your mentioning that last time Sheriff Gully was here, that we didn't want to go through the same process as last year, where I guess he felt he got a bit blindsided by our reduction without him having a chance to weigh in. So we would have one more meeting right on January 7th.
Correct.
Before we'd have to put the budget to bed. I'm wondering if maybe there's a chance we could invite him to come to that meeting and at least hear him out and make whatever adjustments or not that evening, and then we could vote the budget in that night. I mean, I think it's important that we
communicate with them,
Yeah,
yeah.
we kind of maintain good relations with the sheriff's office.
Yeah. I will call the sheriff and ask him if he can come
Particularly if
on
we're
the
gonna be
6th.
looking at cutting an hour, even though it's only an hour or two, I think the principal
Yeah.
thing is important.
I mean, I don't think, the world's gonna come to an end if we
No,
keep level funding. I'm just concerned again, the relationships with the sheriffs and the whole aspect of kind of each year where it just seems kind of, we're cutting back when you can pay attention to the world and see things are a little different, and all the towns that have cut back on policing now are going back and increasing it because they've made mistakes. And I'm not saying that's happening here in Sunderland, but it's just my concern with going from 49 or 45 or whatever down to 35 and then a little further maybe, but
and I agree, I don't think the sole metric we should be using is the number of tickets or things like that.
No.
Like you say, there's a lot to policing.
yeah.
That doesn't necessarily show up in terms of tickets filed or fees collected or stuff like that.
Yeah. And I'm fine with, if we're okay with it, just follow through that process and have them, if they're able to, come talk with us. And then if we decide whatever, then it is what it is. But I just think we have to,
I think that's a good idea to invite them, because we did promise them that we wouldn't blindside them, but this isn't a cutback, this is just not an increase.
well, it's a cut of service. but
Yeah, I mean, to them, it's a cutback because they're charging more money,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
but is that okay for them just to charge us more money and not, so it's, we're trying to, the other thing, I don't know if we can have some input from anybody here, as far as how you feel, Mark, how the sheriff's patrol and how effective that is. Just your opinion.
It seems like, throw me under the bus here, but, I mean, your morning hours, when people are going to work and everything, is sitting at the garage watching people come through that intersection and never even think of slowing down
Yeah,
and cutting the corner. And, everybody's making a beeline through Sunderland, that's not when the sheriff's here to,
patrol, yeah.
and it's kinda almost the same thing. I'd say it's, when people get out of work, they're in a hurry to get home.
Yeah.
And those are the hours you don't really seem to see the sheriff that much. At least, he's out there during the daytime, we are, I guess we've always asked them to try to, have them hour, split them up different all the time and make it so nobody kinda knows your pattern.
Yeah,
But I haven't seen all the records, but, it seems like, they do stop cars and they just say, hey, slow it down. So, but not that we're out there to make money, I don't think we make anything on it anyway.
No.
and do the state police patrol and have radar out occasionally too?
I don't know if they got radar out, but, they sit around town once in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah,
mostly on
absolutely.
the state roads.
Well, I've seen them on Sunderland.
Yeah,
Hill.
they travel around.
On our roads.
Yeah.
Susan, any thoughts on how,
About the sheriffs?
yeah,
I just know from when I look at their bills, I don't know, I would think, I'd like to see them come in the evenings on occasion, because normally when I look through the bills, they're all done by 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
And I mean, if there's anything happening after hours, it seems like they're not here to put an end to it, shall we say.
That's
or discourage
these are things we should talk to Sheriff Gully.
And I think that's what I think we mentioned the
Yeah.
contract negotiations about the various hours and times of the day, and they did, I think they did put it down in writing, the times
Yeah.
that they would do it, so that's something to make sure that they
Follow up.
follow up on.
Because the times are on their, sheets. that
Yes, they are.
put in.
Yeah.
And I was looked at just kind of see when they're here, and it'd be nice to see at least an occasional evening,
Yeah, which they're supposed to do, so,
Yeah.
okay.
I've just sent them an email
Okay, great.
requesting that he or his representative attend our June 6th meeting to discuss our budget allocation for 2025.
Is it on January 6th?
Isn't that our next meeting? Monday the 6th?
It's, isn't it the 8th? No,
It's 8th of Wednesday.
What, it's, 6th is a Monday.
but that's the first Monday.
Oh, that's the first Monday.
But we probably should do it then,
Yeah. What's the next one?
The next one is the 13th, and that's really close.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm not here for that anyway, that's my,
Yeah.
surgery.
It'd be nice to.
And I did, Kathleen, James, and Rob Hunter are planning on the 27th, because I told them initially the 2nd and the 4th Monday, since we're talking about calendars. So I just wanted to, if we do the 6th though, I'll just have to know if we move it to the,
Well, we could do the 6th and then go to the 27th. I
Okay.
mean,
Well,
right?
you'll probably need to have at least a brief one in between to sign the warning.
Yep, or we could just come and sign.
Whatever decisions are made,
Yeah.
will have to be put into the budget and an actual
Okay.
warning created.
Yeah.
So,
Well, could we come in to sign the warnings? Or do we have to have a meeting officially to sign the warning?
you could have warn a special meeting where and then you just do it in the office.
Mhm.
Because you kind of have to sign the warning, you're going to kind of have to wait till after the 16th to sign it, just because
Mhm.
state law allows for people to put in petitions up until
Right.
that time. So, I mean, hopefully everybody will have them in beforehand.
Mhm.
Well, I could change it to the 13th if you want. I could just send them a new email saying, we need to change the date to the 13th.
Yeah, I won't be here on the 13th, but
Would you prefer to be here for the meeting?
I think the earlier we get it done, I think the 6th would probably be better.
yeah.
I agree.
I'd like to be here, just,
That'll
Okay.
give us time to work more numbers and what have you too.
So we'll have to make a special posting that the meeting is going to be the first Monday, not the second Monday.
Well, we have the disclaimer as warned. so
As warned, yep.
once we warn it in a timely fashion.
Mhm.
right. Okay. Have to revise my agenda there anyway. Okay, other items?
For the budget?
For the
On
bud-
on the general fund, those are all just pretty much level funded, just rough numbers. There are a few things that are still outstanding. We have not received anything from Arlington about the fire department yet.
Okay,
We have not received their request that they normally do for the rec park yet. So those items aren't there. There's a few others that have not put in their request yet. So we don't really know where they're
and those
at.
are voted individually, right? Those are,
The fire department is part of your budget.
right,
Right.
right.
The rec park is a appropriation, so on the appropriation part, we haven't heard from Happy Days, the nursing service, the rec park, or the library. The library had been sounding like they were going to want to change theirs, but I haven't gotten anything from them.
All right,
So, there's a few other numbers there that may change a bit as well, in addition to the, potentially law enforcement, the software maintenance contracts. We may need to consider increasing that. The folks that are doing the reappraisal are really pushing for us to move all our accounting system, which interfaces with the listers, to the cloud. Just because that would be, well, be better for them, because they're all trying to work on it at once here. And I'd have to get some more serious numbers, but in a brief conversation, I was told probably around $750 for a fee to move it, and then $20 per month per user from there on out. That would be an increase to our budget if we go that route.
about how much would that be then?
Well, it depends. If we can, basically, when it's not this reappraisal thing, there's really only like 3 users, so it'd be like $60 a month ongoing. So you'd probably be looking, $720 to be added for that, but there's several people working on this now, so I don't know how much extra we would have to put in, at least temporarily, for that monthly thing.
And the $750 is a one-time charge.
That's what I was told, but there's, but that's, that's above our normal.
Right.
Maintenance fees that we pay for this system.
Mhm.
So, but that was like a transfer charge, but I'd have to talk to a different person than what I was talking to.
So we have 7,500 in right now, and you think that should,
Well, if we decide we want to pursue that, we probably want to jack that up, probably at least another 1,000 or so to cover the 750 and then a few months on the anticipated column here, and then, and I'd like to, if we were going to do it, hopefully we'd do the 750 in this year, and then the rest would be in the next. So if we did 1,000, we'd probably cover it, but I'd have to call and talk to the actual salesperson to make sure if this is something we want to do.
because we hit the 7,500 last year, last fiscal year, and so what if we made that 9,000, and then, would that,
You want to go
Another-
that high?
I know we're trying to keep the budget down, but
Yeah. No,
is that,
that'll change it to 395, 100. It's like going from $99.99, $99.99 to $100.14,
Yeah.
It's like that magic change from 99 to 100. So we went from 394 to 395.
yeah.
It's only, it's $1,500, but it seems like a lot more money because the digit changed.
I mean, we won't spend it if we don't have to, right? I mean,
Well, yeah.
but if it's not in there, then we'll go over budget if we
Yes.
need
Yes.
it.
All right, and does that sound like something you would be interested in?
I think having the best technology will make it easier in the long run to keep track of things.
Because the way it's set up now is kind of convoluted. The listers are kind of like their standalone system, and like when they get all done with what they're doing for the year, they have the accounting firm upload files and then transfer them to our machine so we can print tax bills. We're not connected as it is, whereas this would make it so everybody can access everything.
To me, my opinion is that that's a good thing, that we need to,
So there's only one hack instead of 4 hacks, right, to get into our system. Is that what you're telling me?
There you go.
so,
You want me to make a motion to that effect?
if you would.
Okay, I'll move that we change the software maintenance contract budget line from $7,500 to $9,000 on the proposed budget.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Todd?
I'm just trying to keep up with my notes for
Yeah.
one second. And that was a motion to,
To increase the proposed budget from 7,500 to 9,000 for software maintenance and contracts.
okay.
Like I said, this is still rough because we don't have all the information yet. So,
Right.
your bottom line, I'm assuming nobody's heard from Arlington as far as fire and rec and all that.
I have not. Anybody else?
No, I have
You
not.
do have in your folder a letter from the rescue.
We do have the rescue squad, right? Asking, that's level funding
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah, they're saying the same.
So what, the money that we haven't spent for the recording secretary, what happens to that? Does that just roll over into a surplus
Part
fund?
of the fund balance, if there is one at the
Yeah.
end of the year,
Right, and then the fund balance goes against the expenses?
goes against the tax rate.
Goes against the tax rate, yeah.
Dixie, sorry, question. The mover on that was Marty, and the second was Andrew?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
and we stopped the vote.
All right, everybody in favor of changing this from 7,500 to 9,000 for the software maintenance and contract, say aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. I have another item, the audit. I have tried to find a firm, Cody and Love were our previous firm that gave us our last audit in, what was it, 18, 17 or 18? Somewhere around in there. And we were trying to get another audit before Susan retires. And I've talked with Vermont League of Cities and Towns, and they sent me a list of 120 firms to call, and I've called a lot of them around here, but they have firms in Boston and other places, and I told them that we had $9,750 in, and they said, that probably won't do too well for if you have to go to outside firms. So I did call Cody and Love again today to see if, to kind of plead with them to see if they might pull out their records and see if they could do another audit, but I have not heard back. I did talk to Mr. Cody himself, or I did leave a message for him, but he hasn't called me back. And that's what the Vermont League of Cities and Towns said, that all around the state, every town is having difficulties finding firms to audit them, and
A lot of them have retired that used to do it.
yeah. And I think, so anyway, we're still trying to find a firm, but that $9,700 is not gonna fly if we have to go to a firm out of Boston, or, and that's what I guess some towns are having to
Give you
do.
any sense as to what would the magic number be, or?
I asked, and of course, we're a small town, so it's not quite as difficult as like a Burlington or something, but they had no idea. So, I mean, because, our local firms, I think this $9,700 would have covered them for their original, for years ago, and, but she said that's, it could be as high as $20,000.
Yeah, MMF was, did some research about doing an audit, and their budget is not much different than ours. And I think it was in the $20,000-$25,000 range to do
Right.
a real complete audit.
So,
Do we need a real complete audit, or is there a level below that that we could live with? I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm not interested.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
Good, solid audit,
Yeah.
but I'm just wondering.
I don't know. I don't know if there are like, reviews as opposed to audits. You may be able to get somebody to review your books and say that, everything looks like it's in order, and there doesn't seem to be any discrepancies, which is really different than them going through line by line and looking at all your purchase orders and, and all that other stuff.
Yeah, no. I mean, 20,000 sounds like probably a realistic estimate.
Oh, yeah.
Which is obviously a big jump over what we're used to.
I mean, when did we last do an audit?
I think it was 17 or 18. I think 2017 was.
Yeah.
It was before I started here, so it was 17.
2007 or 8.
Does the
Need
state
to have-
suggest an audit frequency for audits?
Well, they always say they prefer to see a real audit for all the things that we do for like grants and, year-end things. They have been also willing to accept the annual report, which our town auditors review the treasurer's statement and that and give their opinion.
So we do have town auditors that do go over all our purchases and stuff, but
Those are elected officials.
that's not an official audit. That's,
I mean, one of the factors too, though, for an official audit is we are not in range where we would have to have it called a single audit, which also adds to the cost of an audit. So if you're talking to them, if they mention that, you can tell them, no, we do not qualify for needing to have that. That's
So
an
what is it
extra
called?
cost. A single audit,
single audit?
yes. If you spend over a certain dollar amount of federal funds, it's a report that they have to do, and it's generally a lot of work for them. And and our federal funds aren't that high.
Maybe I'll mention that to
Yeah.
Cody if he calls me back.
Well, they should know that, having done it in the past. You know, they should know that they're not over the limit.
So I don't know if we should adjust that, or could we do a sinking fund and, for audits and, rather than, because we don't do an audit every year. We haven't anyway, obviously, and,
But it is a good idea
yeah.
to have one done periodically.
I mean, does that have an impact on things like getting state grants if we don't have an up-to-date audit or a current one?
You gotta have something. Like I said, most of the time they've been willing to accept our annual report. But I mean, if you read the documents, a lot of times it'll say, professional audit, and it'll say parentheses preferred or your annual report.
Right.
Well, could we then,
So far it hasn't bit us, but
Mhm.
will it in the future? I don't know.
8 years seems like a long time in between audits.
Yeah,
To me.
it probably really should have been done when I was tired. That would have been the time to do it, but,
Well, do you want to create a audit reserve fund? Is that, no, that's what you were just suggesting?
That's what I was,
Some sort of audit reserve fund and start with the 9,700 and put more money into it this year and maybe more money next year, and then do it at the 10-year interval, 2027?
But if you could do a reserve fund, but what would have to happen is it would be voted on at town meeting. It'd have to go on your warning, just like you did last year with special projects, it'd be, will the voters approve
Yep.
the establishment of a sinking fund to fund future audits?
I think we ought to do that. I think, but probably, we wouldn't really need $9,700 a year if we're doing
No.
every 4 years or 5 years or something.
You
It
should-
seemed like 5 years would be,
I would suggest 3.
3?
Because the term for the treasurer is a 3-year term. So you could have turnover every 3 years. And theoretically, when you have turnover, you should have an audit.
I mean, you're figuring
Yeah.
putting $8,000 a year into that fund then, every year,
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
yeah.
Question for you, for the audit, if we did get a number, we finally find one person, and that's really the only number we can get, as much as I don't want to, but could you use, for the first year, we have the 97, the difference, the special projects, cover that, and then that way we have a relationship with the audit, the accounting. The project that we're working on is our external audit, and then now you can do that sinking fund every year, and then we have a policy, we write a policy and have it written down that we will have an audit every 3 to 5 years, whatever the general accepted practice is, and then we go from there. I'm just thinking, like, if we do get one number, we should probably, it's probably gonna be tough to get multiple numbers. So that's just something we think about. If they're not gonna do it for 9,700, but they're like, come back and say 20,000, we don't really have $15,000, whatever, sitting around, other than, as much as I don't wanna touch that special projects money, that's just one way to, I guess, look at it, just to cover and get this probably one of the most important projects that we would have is an external audit anyway. So, just something to think about.
Sounds like a good solution.
It does, and, so, if we, so should we still start this sinking fund? And what would that number be that we would suggest putting into that for now?
Either 7 or 8,000, depending on whether you figure it's going to be 20,000 or 25,000.
Or if you're going to leave it as is in the budget for this year, just your establishment, one, you can maybe start with something like 4 or 5, you know, keep the budget down a little bit. If you're leaving the money in the budget for right now and hopefully getting it done within the year, and start with a little seed money to establish it. And then future years, like you say, do the 8,000 or whatever.
Because we're not gonna really know until we get like a modern day number from the accounting firm of what that sinking
Right.
fund would have to look like.
But, you know, I have tried every firm that's in Bennington
Yeah.
County that said they used to do audits, and they don't do them anymore.
It's hard to find them, it is. But, you know, we would have to supplement this 9750 with money from the Special Projects Fund, you know, and then that would wipe out the 9750. And we'd create a new fund, and either we can seed it with $4,000 or $8,000, or we can leave it as a fund with zero balance and wait until the next budget year and, you know, and seed
So
it.
vote this town meeting to establish it, and then the following year vote to put money in it?
Yeah, we could, I mean, you could do that, you know, and then it might take you 3 or 4 years to build up a certain amount. But, you know, it depends on how long you want to wait. I mean, we probably could do it you should do it every 3 years. There's no question. I mean, we probably could do it every 5 years, you know, and it wouldn't be so terrible. And that would give us a few more years to build the fund up.
I was just thinking because of the cycle of when
Yep.
you're gonna have turnover though. It's a good thing to do when you have.
Well, we've had 2 cycles now without it at all.
Wow. But we're looking to correct.
I know, we're
this.
trying to correct it. We're trying to
Yes.
make it better.
There you go. Baby steps.
Yeah, but, you know, it's hard to go from no money to all of a sudden, you know, putting in $8,000 or $9,000 a year. You know, it's, you know, when people look at it and go, well, what's that about all of a sudden? I mean, a small
But if you
town, it's a
do it
big
as
number.
If you leave this in for this coming year, and hopefully it gets done between now and next cycle, you would be, if you switch it to a sinking fund, then you'd be taking this out of the budget, so it would kind of be a wash, you know? You'd be taking this 97 out of future budget years and putting it down in appropriations
Yep. Yeah, we
So-
budgeted 97,
this year.
right.
Coming up.
Did we spend it? Did we spend it?
No, we haven't,
Well, we have 97, didn't we have $9,700 in this budget, right?
Yes.
And then we want to
And
put
that's what we have.
$9,700 in the next budget.
What's that?
We want to put we want to put an additional
no,
9,700.
we didn't spend this.
We didn't spend the
We haven't spent
9,750.
it yet. We're-
Right.
I'm-
So
I had
th-
it as anticipated in hopes that
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
it comes
So,
through.
so that 9,750 is the same 9,750.
Yeah.
We're not adding another 9,750 to it. No.
It's just a budget thing.
Okay, yeah. Mhm. So if we took money out of the special fund, well, you know, $11,000 or $12,000 to bring that up to what an audit is, then that would be zero, because all of it would be
Right.
spent, right?
Well, your anticipated
Yeah.
or actual would be 97.50
Would- yeah,
spent.
Yeah,
You just went
plus
ahead
we'd add, you know, plus money from the special prize, and then it would be used during this coming fiscal year,
Right.
right? And we would create a sinking fund, and either we could vote to put money into it, or we could leave it blank for a year and then put money into it on the 2026 budget.
Right, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, and then the intention of the special projects was just because if you do get an opportunity, we might have to just take it, you know, with the audit firm. And that's, you know, a one-time thing. I wouldn't want to keep going back to the
No, no,
special
no.
projects, but yeah.
No, we'd
Right.
have to start budgeting for
Yeah.
it in an appropriate way.
I think we should start a sinking fund and then see if we can get one done with this, do, just like you said. Do we need a proposal for that?
Yep.
Probably vote on
My
that.
suggestion is that we call it a reserve fund, because the sinking
Reserve,
fund
yeah.
should go to zero and end. And we don't want this to end. We want it to be a reserve fund that we draw upon on a regular basis and then refill. You know, so, I mean, it's like the
Okay, so
capital
we can do it
projects
every 3
reserve fund,
years.
you know, that school districts have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So an external audit reserve fund.
Yep, yeah.
So we just would put that on the warning to, put it for a vote to establish audit reserve fund.
You do,
Great,
Yep.
yes,
do we need to do a motion or anything for that?
Yep.
I think we do.
I'll make a motion that we put what would you call it, a proposal?
I'll add to the warning.
Add to the warning, a proposal to create an audit reserve fund as part of our budget, part of this Town of Sunderland budget.
Establish a reserve fund as a line item on your warning.
Right.
Do I have a second anywhere?
A second.
All right, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of starting a reserve fund for future audits, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we will do that, thank you. And I'll still see if we can pull somebody in that's not gonna be $50,000.
Burlington doesn't have anybody?
I've only tried the local, but also I called Vermont League of Cities and Towns because they're usually very helpful, and she said all the towns. She said she had like 5 calls this week on,
Yeah.
from towns trying to find people to audit.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know if you know, I was at one of the school board meetings and they were, Sandy, the town clerk from Dorset, was talking about, they're doing their audits and they were trying to tie in another project with their audit, so I don't know who they use, but I don't know if they would be willing to share the info on what accounting service Dorset uses. I don't
A
know
lot
if
of the schools are using one out of Maine.
is that what they're doing? Okay,
That's who we have it now.
okay.
yeah, it seems like we'd like to spend our money here if we can.
Yeah, it's an ongoing adventure.
All right, well, that takes care of that. Any other issues or questions on the general fund?
This time, the Bennington County Court one, I don't have a firm number on that, though I did get a notice from them that their budget was increasing, so that's why I increased our allotment by a corresponding percentage, so.
Okay,
Everything else is pretty much just about the same until we get more firm information.
all right. Shall we go on to the highway fund? Any questions on that? We're up a little bit over last year's budget. A little bit more payroll. Health insurance probably is the other. That's gone up quite a bit. Any other items on here that anybody has a question on? I thought,
The salt budget is going down.
What's that?
The salt budget is going down, huh?
We're on a low-sodium diet.
The only thing, I mean, we're not gaining anything
Okay.
by going flat. You know, we, talking with Sue, we took 5,000 off of salt, because we got a lot better price this year for salt.
Oh, you did, yeah.
New England, or, no, I can't say the name of
A
it.
new company found.
Okay, great.
It's like $8 less a ton.
Wow.
So there's a savings there, and the way the winter's going so far, you know, we are saving a little bit. So we took 5,000 off the salt, put it on gravel.
Gravel, yeah, okay.
But that 5,000 on gravel, it probably won't even cover the increase of the price of gravel.
Really?
So we're not gaining gravel. You know, we're getting less salt,
And probably less gravel.
yeah. I mean, we, then the line painting doubled
It's crazy.
from the company that we used to use.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And, I think that's, personally, I wanted to bump the equipment fund, but I can live with it, but we're not getting ahead with the sinking fund we have for the price, you know.
Increases of the,
The increases of equipment are just, you know, it's getting hard to, and, you know, you gotta wait so long for things to.
Yep.
But this year we're getting hit with a lot of tires for vehicles. That just happened to be, they're all wearing out the same year. I mean,
so does that come out of the equipment and truck maintenance?
yeah.
Budget.
That, by the end of the season, that'll probably be tight, but if we have the savings, you know, per line item, we may be over, but hopefully, bottom line will be
In budget?
somewhere near where we should be.
Well, 3 years from now, we should put more money in for tires.
Well, it's hard to predict when we have to get them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the bucket loader, we weren't really planning on getting one, but we got a flat. So, and it's on the front. The tires are worn just enough that you can't put a new one here and a used one.
Yeah,
So that's just a little over $5,000.
it's crazy, isn't it?
And that's, they put one tire on for us, we put the other one on. We already had it up there, they can section it to repair it,
Okay.
but it's like repairing a wore out tire.
Yeah.
And that might be a month and a half to get it fixed.
Wow,
So when winter comes, not a good time to have your loader down.
no,
You know, it just, it happens.
yeah.
Shut up.
For the, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, for the new truck, are we still looking at spring, summer,
Spring,
for the dump bed and all
it'll
that?
be probably maybe 2-3 months for them to build it once we get it there.
Okay, and then, are we still looking at selling the existing
other
truck?
Yeah,
Okay,
and Rick gave us an auction house
okay,
that we may be able to get more money. The deal with the dealer is, because everything got shoved out so long,
yeah,
they offered 30,000 when we made the deal,
uh-huh,
with the small print that says they can reevaluate it at the time we get the truck built.
okay,
So it's, you know, who
so
knows?
we don't know yet.
You know that's going up.
Yeah, I doubt it's going up. You know. But the auction house, Rick showed us that we could call, might get us more.
Could you put a reserve on, a minimum reserve, you know, that it won't sell for less than?
I've never done that,
Yeah.
that
Because,
auction house.
I mean,
thing.
you wouldn't want to put it up for auction and have it go for 15,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I mean,
that's the
I think
highest
you
bid.
could say you want at least this. Or
Yes,
something.
yeah, that's a reserve price.
Type deal,
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, it's all.
Would that money from the sale of the truck, where would that go in the budget?
Usually it goes back into the equipment
Okay.
reserve,
Okay,
and we're only gonna have, what, 20? We're still on, we're gonna have,
You get about
by the time we pay for the body,
yeah, you get about 120 in there right now. And then
Yeah,
you
so
gotta pay
there'll
for
be-
your body,
yeah, there'll be 20 in there,
okay,
you know, and that's,
and then you'll have another 70, so you'll be at
like the excavator, the wrist is starting to wear out.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And that's 25 grand, 30 grand. If we keep the old one bucket, the ditching bucket, and weld up the surfaces and get a new wrist, and, the excavator's not too bad a shape.
Mm-hmm.
But down the road, I mean, Keegan and I have been looking at, it's like the mowing tractor is getting older. The arms, we've replaced all the bushings already before. But they do have, instead of buying a whole new mowing tractor, they do have a power unit that would go on the front of the loader.
Oh, really?
So that way we could decrease the vehicle from fleet, and, just buy the power unit and arm. So, I mean, there's things to look at, that'll, could try to help us out,
Yeah.
trying to. But for this year, the way winter's going and stuff,
Yeah.
live with what we got,
Okay.
because we, some of the sinking reserves, we did away with, but after Sue added them all up, we're not really hurting. So we didn't put back in guardrail reserve and all those this year.
Okay.
So try to keep it down the best we could.
All right. Anything else on the highway fund budget that we need to?
Do we need to make a motion to accept this draft?
I would say yes, would be a good idea.
Okay, so I will make a motion that we accept the Highway Fund FY '26 budget as presented.
Do I have a second? Andrew, okay. Any other discussion on the highway budget? All in favor of accepting as written here, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Now, do we have to accept the general fund budget? Did we do that?
Any changes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'll wait till
Wait till
the next
6th?
meeting and hopefully have those changes in there and,
Yeah,
Well, we won't really know until you have a meeting with the,
the sheriff.
right,
plus we have to wait for the other
Yeah.
appropriations to come in.
right. Okay, anything else on the budget that we need to discuss? All right, moving on, the Special Projects Fund update.
Yep, we received the Phase 1 study on the physical church, the structure. And to do the necessary repairs, the estimate is $178,250, which is actually significantly less than anybody thought it would be. So I think this may be in the North Shire Community Land Trust's wheelhouse, that number.
Okay,
So I think that they're going to proceed with the Phase 2 study, and just drill down a little further and, and see what other environmental issues there are that have to be dealt with besides the physical construction. Most of that money is going to go into the foundation and the steeple. That's where the big problems are, the biggest problems. The foundation and the steeple. And, we can't charge the raccoons rent, so there's no money coming in.
How much was the,
$178,250.
oh, that's actually not as bad as I thought.
No, it's significantly less
Yeah.
than anybody thought it was.
Was it 178?
178,250.
250.
Yeah, I mean, they found that structurally, it was actually in pretty good shape. The bones of it are good. There's cracks in the foundation, and there's, and the steeple's got to be significantly repaired. It needs work.
How's the roof? How's the roof?
The roof is pretty good. The roof is in good shape. It's really not leaking. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
yeah. I mean, everybody was like really pleasantly surprised you know, at what the report came in as.
Excellent, sounds great. All right, and on the small items on our list for special projects.
Yes.
We had the cemetery commission funds.
Right.
Did we, that was $2,500 that we,
Yep, I have the whole list here if you want.
and,
Yeah, the cemetery commission, then there was approximately $1,400 for outdoor glass enclosed locking bulletin boards.
yeah,
Now, that would be for three, because we were talking about the town office, the transfer station, and the school. So those are the three spots. And that would be for glass enclosed double side, one's cork, and one would be for you to put 3-inch letters. Well, actually, you could put 6-inch letters if you want, just can't put as many letters in.
for,
For the bulletin boards, it's a two-sided glass enclosed bulletin board.
Yeah.
One side is, half of it is cork, so you can
Yeah.
pin things up, and the other half is, where you can actually
Oh.
put words in, like the
Okay,
black
like-
background.
like the sign out front.
Yeah, but it would be raised up, and, you would put 3-inch white letters, you actually push them into the board,
Right,
because,
that's what they do out
and you
front.
you get a whole box of letters, so you can.
That's what we have for updating.
Yeah, except instead of the little snap-ons, it would be, push-ins. And they're all plastic, and they're cut, and it's just water, it's locking and weather resistant. I would presume it's weatherproof. It's an outdoor rated bulletin board. So that's on that. There's the welcome signs we already allocated funds for.
Right,
There's $2,000 for the support for the rural development. Now, there was $1,500 for the environmental survey for the town property. Has that been done?
that is, the environmental, for the lot, to see if that's,
Yeah, that was the one that was discussed briefly about someone coming to survey the field. or
Yes,
whatever.
this was, Jeff had some people that he had in mind that he had been speaking to.
I have not heard,
I don't think we were going through with that right away.
No, I mean, it was just on our list. Then
Right.
there was $3,000, approximately $3,000, which is the 25% local contribution, 75% state grant for the firefighting standpipes on the two bridges.
yeah, I like those personally. I think those are a safety issue, which was like the number one
Right.
phase or on the surveys. And the cemetery commission, to me, those two, right now, I know that the sign at the transfer station is outside, and I guess
It's an open bulletin board.
Yeah.
There's no covering on it. So when I put up the agenda and the minutes, usually it lasts about three days before it
Yeah.
rains and the wind rips it apart.
But we also need to get permission from Casella.
Casella to put it up, yes.
So I think we should hold off on voting on that one at the moment, because Bruce was not in favor of doing that. I'd like his input before we do that. I think Bruce was in favor of the cemetery commission, to finish their project. And the standpipes on the bridges, because that $3,000 is actually really $12,000, but we only have to pay $3,000, so I think that's so Can I have
And
a
is-
proposal
and
to?
Did we give the window dressers the $500 that they asked?
No, we're gonna put that on, did you get a proposal from window dressers for, $500 for
In
appropriation? All right, so we'll have to, that should be an appropriation, I think, so
Okay.
that the town can vote on that. And we'll have to get Jeff to write up a request, if we could.
Once we, set aside all the funds for those small amounts like we just discussed.
Yeah?
How much does that leave in the special projects fund if all those were?
Well, we have 3,000, assume we have $3,000 for the standpipes, and $2,500 for the cemetery commission is $5,500. And I think those are the only things you're talking about, right? It's $5,500?
2,000?
So we're down to like 257,000, somewhere in that.
257?
Between 255 and 6,000, I would guess about
All
257.
right, I was just curious.
Yeah.
I think with the standpipes and like the firefighting stuff, it might be good to have, just before we just like vote on anything for that, it might be good to have because they had a shuffling of the fire chief. I don't know
Okay.
who the new fire chief is, officially, I don't know who it was, but, it might be good to have them come in and maybe talk about
Okay.
it before we allocate money to something. I don't know if they're on the same page, they're still on the same page or not.
All right, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Can they come to the next meeting too?
We can find out, yeah.
I mean, this money doesn't have to be spent.
Yeah.
I mean, and
No.
this is,
Doesn't affect our budget.
it doesn't affect the budget, so,
Yeah.
Come at another
Yeah.
meeting, so
all right, why don't we have them, that's a great idea, I like that.
And then that way, I was thinking too, like, that way they can also, other than introduce themselves, since we do pay a lot of money to them, any questions that we had about, what the amount of money that they ask for each year, if we have any questions on how they fund, equipment, personal protective equipment, stuff like that, we could use that also as an opportunity to ask them any kind of questions that we had.
Yeah, because there's a request, they still have that request in for personal protection gear at $17,000 a unit.
Right, and they only want 25 units out of us?
No, they said whatever you could afford, that would be
They'd appreciate
appreciated.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, my question just for that one, is, like, for the chief, if he came, would be, what level of funding, like grant writing are you doing? Because a lot of PPE stuff is, I think you can get through grants.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm okay if we decide to, allocate some of the money towards it. I just want to make sure that they're doing
Doing
all they
this, yeah.
can to
Yeah.
update, especially, and then what comes from that $72,000 in terms of updating their own equipment, and, just stuff like that.
Sure.
questions.
in the last couple of years, they haven't given us a report really either. They used to give us reports to put in the book, but they haven't really done that.
Do you know who the new chief is, or?
Brian Hall.
Okay.
All right, any more on special projects? So-
Yep.
Can I throw it over there? Now,
Yeah.
Is that what used to be ARPA?
Yes,
Yes, it used to be, but,
I guess I'm connecting the energy thing that they're talking about doing the garage.
yeah,
Now, out of special projects, would it be, at one time, way back in the beginning, and then we never really pushed it about getting a sea container? Because if we're gonna be doing that project down at the garage to insulate and all that stuff, we're gonna have to kinda clean the building out. And we could use a container anyways for storage, because we have so many spare tires, we got spare clapboards for the building, we got wood for the covered bridge, and we could tuck it right around behind the building, so it'd be out of sight.
so, what is that?
Just the metal sea containers everybody uses
Oh,
for storage.
Oh, shipping
like,
containers,
it
yeah.
used to be a trailer, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, and they're not usually.
Trailer
not
without
much
wheels.
money.
yeah, trailer without wheels, right.
Yeah, I mean, I could check in to see how much.
Yeah, if you could check and see how much that is.
I mean, I've had numbers,
Yeah, well, I mean,
Somewhere
They got one for 4,000.
Well,
4,000?
across the street from you.
I think he got his cheaper, but I know like a brand shiny new one, I saw somebody got one for like 4,000.
That may be the 40-footer too.
Yeah, there were different
Yeah, the
sizes.
twin.
how big do you need?
I'm thinking a smaller one.
Oh, it's not
20
one.
foot or
20 foot.
26.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna pay for itself. I mean, it just in the lumber that sits outside,
Yeah,
you know, and just rots and warps.
yeah, I'll get some prices for you.
All right.
I mean, it would just help. I mean, I'm assuming that
Yep,
still going along.
Yeah, sure, that's,
we just changed it to a special projects fund.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yep. No, that's good, good,
That's right.
that would be good use of the funds.
Too bad we didn't have it insulated yesterday.
Yes,
More,
Yeah.
a little chilly out there.
It was 4 below at my house. What was it at the garage?
that was in the garage.
It was-
It was cold, it was cold.
So, no, that would help.
All right, that sounds good. So if you get us those numbers,
Yeah.
we'll look into that. Great. Any other old business?
I think so.
New business, we were asked to have a liaison to the State Ethics Commission, and it needed to be one of our board members, and I don't know, maybe we should wait till next time to vote on it, because Bruce isn't here.
Did we were supposed to find out what did it entail? You know, is it once a month? Is it once a year? You know, what does it mean to do, to,
I was looking earlier on it, see if I have about 1,000 tabs open on my laptop, but it was, where was it? I was just reading off the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns. What's it say? It's part of their new Act 171 that goes into effect January 1st. Hold on. Each municipality's legislative body must designate either an employee or one of its own members to serve as its ethics liaison to the state's ethics commission within 30 days of January 1st. And then you also have to assign a municipal officer or body, i.e. the designated complaint recipient, to receive complaints alleging violations of the municipal code of ethics. So it seems like, I mean, with Act 171, there's gonna be a lot of various things with whistleblowing protections and making sure the complaints are received. I didn't see anything on traveling to Montpelier.
apparently there's a regular meeting once a month.
Oh, I didn't know, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, because I'm looking at their calendar. It meets every month. But I don't know if it's a Zoom meeting or, you know.
I would think if it's statewide, it probably is a Zoom meeting.
Must be at this point.
Yeah, so apparently
Well,
it's
we
a
have to the
Wednesday.
end of January, or,
Yep.
We have to, yeah, technically, yeah.
Well, hold it, it's not there, it's not
So-
there okay, when is the next one?
Yeah, the act-
I only saw one in January. I haven't seen one in March or April. Maybe it's not every month, because it's not on the calendar.
so when is the one in January? January what?
I gotta go back. January 8th, and it says regular monthly meeting, and yet they don't have it for the following months.
The town website, I don't know if I don't think we have it yet, but there's gonna be, but January 1st, we have to put up a municipal code of ethics on the town website, just like, VLCT or VLCT has a copy on their website that we could use, I believe.
Yeah.
Looks like, and then there should be procedures adopted by the municipality for the investigation, enforcement of complaints, ethics complaints against a municipal officer, and then any supplemental or additional ordinances, rules, personnel policies. There's gonna be some training involved. I think by September, we all have to take, new ethics training. Takes effect September 30th, 2025. But I think we have to pick somebody.
You want to wait till the meeting is 6th when Bruce is here? Or do you want to do it tonight?
Do we have a volunteer?
Let's see.
If I knew more
Everyone that
about
doesn't
it-
want to step back a step.
I mean, I wish I knew, you know. Well, we don't have too many employees.
No, well, I think,
It would have to be one of us.
I think, yeah. Or we could assign Caroline, she's not here.
Well, she's an employee, isn't she?
She's an employee.
Motivator to run, won't you?
I mean, I would be surprised if they had monthly
Yeah,
in-person ethics meetings for
Yeah.
everyone, for each municipality in the state. I could see like maybe an initial Zoom meeting to kind of let
Yeah.
get people on the same
Yep.
page, and then maybe,
yeah, it says that currently being held remotely, right?
I mean, most of them are at this point.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then VLCT, I was just looking, in terms of, there was gonna be, you have to have, each town has to have a tracking mechanism for any kind of like, ethics complaints, and VLCT had like a worksheet already kind of crafted. So, I mean, I don't know really too much more than that, but once it gets up and running.
You know what?
Well, I would volunteer to do it if, at least to start, we can always change, I guess, if somebody has a real desire.
I don't know that anybody has a real desire. I mean, I would do it if nobody else wants to do it, but that'll be my 4th or 5th
Yeah,
committee that I'm on.
I mean, you could do it until the election's over, and then we
all right.
regather all the
Get-
assignments.
Just so we have a name in there.
The
you
new
could-
victim.
Let's put my name in
Let's
for
let the
now.
chair be the first,
Right. And then
and then we
the
can.
the
we
least
can go
senior
from there.
member.
And then if I get voted out, I won't have to worry about it, right?
Are you up again?
Yeah, I'm only 1
Oh,
year.
you're 1 year.
So do we need are you willing to do it?
I'll do it, yeah. If,
Well, you know, here's the agenda from December. It looks like it's about a 15-minute meeting.
yeah.
Do we need to have a motion or anything?
Yes, I think so.
So I will move to appoint Dixie to our, as our town's representative to the State Ethics Commission.
I'll second that.
Second, okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right?
Okay, all right. Another badge I can put on my wall here.
It's a good resume item.
Yep.
Okay.
So I have just the questions. Did anybody have anything they want to add to the personnel policy or the sexual harassment policy that was distributed before we finalize it and type it up as a finished copy?
I didn't see anything that jumped out at me, but
Okay.
I kind of read it quickly, so I didn't study it.
Yeah, well, there were not a lot of changes. I mean,
Yeah.
it was updating more than changing anything of substance.
I mean, those updates look, seem fine.
In that handbook, is there did you do anything like for overusage of phones?
Carpal tunnel?
No, it was just the removal of thumbs, I think was in there. Or just cutting off thumbs.
Yeah, because I mean,
You're too much on, your crew
we
doing too much.
have trouble once in a while telling, put.
Well, they're not supposed, it's in there, that they're not supposed to use electronic devices for personal reasons.
Oh, it is in there?
It is in there,
Yeah. I must have missed
yeah.
it.
I'm pretty sure it's in there. I will go back and check.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
Yeah, well, no, you're absolutely right. It should, I think
I mean,
yeah, I think it may have said, it may be that you can't use the town facility, the town with stuff.
There's a lot of stuff about the town computers.
Right, yeah, and I changed that to electronic devices, you know, because it was more than computers, because we now have tablets and, you know, and assorted other things, you know, so I changed that, but if you want to, I will add something about using personal electronic equipment on school, on work time. Okay? Yep, but I would need approval of the select board to add something new to the personnel policy.
Well, I thought you and Bruce were kind of doing like a little subcommittee rewriting it. I would
I'm the
assume that
committee.
they could-
Bruce and I were the committee.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, but I would take it as you guys do it up and then you send it to everybody for approval. at
Right.
that
Well, everybody approved what we did, now we just want to add one more thing to it. So, I mean, I asked everybody if they had anything they wanted to add, and nobody had anything. So I was going to keep it as is until we now have something else to add.
All right.
It's still
Can
in
I-
draft form, isn't it?
It's still in draft form, because, well, we don't, I mean,
So
we don't.
you could add that
Yeah.
without a vote, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I will be happy to do that.
We're all in agreement. So,
Okay, I will do that.
all right.
Dixie, real quick, so for the Ethics Commission, there was that email, I think December 2nd, from the Peggy Delaney?
Yes,
Okay, so you'll respond to her, or reach out to her?
I will.
Okay. With name and contact info.
I'll call you if I can't find mine.
I mean, I'll help you out,
Yeah,
whatever
okay.
you need. But yeah, VLCT had their last, I think, email today or this week had a section on the ethics thing, and that's what I was
Okay.
just reading right before the meeting. So they have a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, great. All right. Any other old business? All right. Few items here in a folder. We do have a letter from the Vermont 250th Anniversary Commission. I guess it is actually, this says, I'm writing to remind everyone about the upcoming years of Vermont 250th anniversary. Official Vermont 250th website is up and live now, so people can go on and look. And they did ask if we, the town, would like stickers and magnets promoting the commemoration. I don't know who needs to follow through to say yes.
Weren't you part
Yeah,
of that? Andrew? I think Andrew's liaison.
I did reply to them in my capacity as the
Okay.
representative to that, and I said, yeah, it'd be great if we could,
Oh, so
but I hadn't heard anything further about that.
I'll give you that if you don't mind.
I'll follow
Maybe
up.
as the liaison, you might have got it directly.
Yeah, I'm sorry?
As the liaison for that, you may have gotten that email directly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do we want to have magnets if they're available? I was going to say, next, if you want to put on the agenda for the next meeting, Dixie, I'd be happy to kind of give an update on where that committee stands.
Okay.
Our next meeting is going to be January 8th, I think?
Sixth.
I did say 8th on here, but that's
a Wednesday.
I have a calendar that shows January 2025 that's wrong. You know, it's got December and then up in the corner, and, yeah, I didn't look, but the dates don't line up with December, so, anyway, so that's why it says the 8th, is
It's the
because
6th,
I thought it was the 8th on my little calendar, but anyway, so it is going to be the 6th. That's a,
But things are finally beginning to kind of come into focus about what's going to be happening locally as part of that on the first weekend in May, which is when the first kind of big round of events is taking place. And there will be events in Arlington and possibly also something having to do with the Ira Allen House. So we will be part of the weekend's celebration of all of this.
Oh, great.
I think it's May 2nd to May 4th is the weekend, and it'll be a county-wide kind of thing. So if you want to just, if you want, I'll be happy to kind of just update everybody next time we meet as to, you know, what's up. And you know, I think it would be great if we could get some of the merch here on this.
Yeah, we have counter space at the
9:30
desk,
plus
we
an
could
hour
put
and a
magnets
lunch.
or pamphlets or
Don't
something,
want
or,
to bust a budget
We
either.
could probably figure something.
yeah.
Right next to the candy jar.
There you go. We don't be popular, remember?
Yeah, you can't take a piece of candy unless you take a magnet.
Also, there are a few letters for requests for appropriations. GNet has requested level funding. We gave them $2,000, they were in for $2,000 last year, and they're asking for that for this year. Do these have to be voted on for us?
That one's in your budget, so.
It's in the budget?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's a budget.
Okay. And then the Rutland Council on Aging has asked for also level funding of $700. Is that,
That one's a separate appropriation, so you probably should approve that if you wanted it.
all right? So, do I have a motion to accept inserting the $700 for the Vermont Council on Aging?
Is that Vermont or Rutland Council?
Well, it's the Vermont,
Southern
but
Vermont.
Okay.
southern Vermont, yeah,
So-
they're southwestern Vermont,
So
actually.
we're voting to put it as, to give them the money or to
No,
put it on the
put it on
budget? As an appropriation to be
Appropriation.
voted on?
To be voted.
Okay, okay, yeah,
It's the same as they did last year.
Not in the budget.
right,
It's not in the budget, right?
Right.
Separate.
Then it did.
So you gotta kind of accept it
Mhm.
or not.
So do
So I'll move to accept it.
I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of the $700 level funding, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Great. And we have the Arlington Rescue Squad. That's also level funding request for 2025 of $26,750. That's what we had in last year's budget.
And that's a budget item.
And that's a budget item, not appropriation.
Right.
So we don't need to vote on that,
No, it'll be part of your budget.
Right.
when you sign it.
okay? And I think we have two flyers. One is from Vermont League of Cities and Towns, prepping, there's a prepping for town meeting. The online webinar is January 7th, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Free for members, so anybody that's interested in town meeting prep, that will be on the 7th of, so what I said, yeah, January 7th. Also, another free training from Vermont League of Cities and Towns is this is training for rural development, and it says build your knowledge with VLCT. So there's, it really,
I kind of got out of that they're saying a lot of their trainings are gonna be free this year is what I.
no, that'd be good.
Trying to boost numbers, boost attendance, maybe.
Yeah.
Bless you.
So, the select board has to, yeah, Marty, you have to finish the annual report for the
I do, huh?
select board.
Yes, so you need an annual report?
We need an annual report. We have to,
Supposed go in the big annual report.
yes, else? We need to have an annual report from the select board for our town report. I will work on that. Look at last year's and change the date.
God, I wrote them every year for like 25 years as a school principal. I had to
yeah.
write every year.
Pretty much the same idea.
Yeah, yes, same concept.
All right. Is there any other business that we need to discuss? Anybody have anything else? Our next meeting will be January 6th. Please note that was noted as the 8th on our agenda, so make that a correction. January 6th, 7 PM, right here. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn, say aye.